Hey everyone, I finished watching the next episode of Lightspeed Rescue, Trakeena's Revenge Part 2. It's, not a whole lot better than the first part. And, it's weird. They're not good episodes. As team-ups, they absolutely fail. The returning Rangers get next to no screen time, no meaningful anything interaction with the current Rangers. It doesn't work at all for fans. And even if I wasn't a fan of Lost Galaxy, it wouldn't really work as an episode of Lightspeed because it just feels like it's getting in the way of the story that was building up in the rest of the season. There's so many missed opportunities here and really obvious ones. Yeah, very weird. Anyway, the last episode I watched, the first part, I talked a lot about for whatever reason they put a ton of focus on the little girl Heather. No idea why. I'm My theory is that it was probably a mandate from McDonald's, who are part of the reason this thing was made. This was intended to be a promotional tie-in with the Power Ranger toys that McDonald's was doing for Lightspeed. So I don't know. Maybe they had a mandate that we need to have a little kid in it because I don't know. I have no idea why. So yeah, the previously on segment for the last episode was kind of weird because it was all about how Diabolico was resurrected. But what's it matter? He's not in these episodes. He's not even mentioned. If you missed the episode where he came back and any episode that featured him, this wouldn't feel too out of place. So what was the point of having the previously on all about... So, and this one also has a weird previously on. It completely omits Heather. There's one mention of her, and then at the end it keeps her no from the end of the last episode. And that's it. For anything else that she did, it wasn't important enough to include in the previously on. I mean, yeah, she's not important, but just kind of weird to focus that much on a character that you're whatever. Back to the the actual episode starts. Heather runs up to the Rangers, and then let's see, Carter tells her that we're going to rescue your mother, and then Kelsey jumps in and says, "We can't just storm in that building. There's innocent people in there." Yeah, and you're a rescue team. Evacuate the people. This isn't a hard thing to figure out. What? And then they cut away from that, and then let's see, what's? Oh yeah, we are back in the building with Trakeena, and Trakeena is pontificating to herself about how awesome she is, and oh yeah, she wants to use the shrunken people that they took captive to restore her green mutant monster form or whatever. And blah blah blah. Oh yeah, there's a weird thing here. When she's done talking and going, ah ha ha, I'm so evil, blah blah blah. The camera zooms in on this really fake-looking bat hanging from the ceiling. Okay, was this a leftover prop from a Goosebumps episode or something? And then let's see what happens. Yeah, then it goes to Olympius, who is talking to Lokai and Vipra, who don't seem to hate him as much in this episode for some reason. Was this episode supposed to go like uh like when Olympius first showed up? This really feels like it should have gone back there because since Diabolico's not here, this would fit better there, but then again, I don't know if all the Zords and weapons that are in this would have been present at that moment in time. Anyway, back to the thing. He planted that bat there as a spy. I still don't know if it's like a fake bat or not, but it's kind of weird. Why would they bother planting a spy to tell whether or not Trakeena is going to betray them? Because they're just going to turn on her anyway. They're bad guys. Why wouldn't they turn on her? It just seems like an unnecessary complication. They already know they're gonna turn on her, so why'd they need the spy to help along? So then Olympius, oh yeah, this was a neat thing. He pulled out this vial with a little cobra thingy on top of it, and at first, I remember being a kid and I saw this, and I saw that cobra thing, and I was like, oh, is this something to do with Ryan? No. it just happens to have a cobra on it. He drips some of the poison goo that was in the vial on this dagger, and says, yeah, they're gonna kill Trakeena. It's like, okay, cool. So they're gonna poison Trakeena. All right. Like, she survived an explosion. Like, and she looks fine. Like, she has that mask over the bottom half of her face. Oh, and that's something I want to talk about later. Anyway, back to what the Rangers are doing. Oh, wait, no. After Olympius has the poison dagger thing, it goes back to Miranoi. Still raining, still night, and we see two arms grab the last two Quasar Sabers out of the stone. And those scenes are pretty cool. I do like those. They're very Zachor-esque. Jonathan Zachor gets a lot of crap now for Megaforce, but like even in Megaforce, the original stuff that he shot, he always had an eye for iconic visuals, and like these old Saban era episodes really show that really well. Especially like in Time Force and Wild Force, there's so many scenes that they're just instantly iconic, and you really remember those scenes. They really stand out. It's too bad that like he came back and kind of sucked, kind of like George Lucas or a lot of creators where you really love their stuff, and then years later they come back and do something, and you're super excited, and then oh, well, that wasn't very good. So yeah, back to the episode. Let's see. Oh yeah, we're on Miranoi, and now we're back on Earth. The Rangers have come up with a plan to evacuate the building. They're gonna send in Heather to pull a fire alarm. Why? Why couldn't they just take a megaphone and say, there's a monster on the 13th floor, evacuate the building? Like, were they afraid the monsters would, like, kill the captives or something? Or what was the logic here? Why couldn't they use any normal means of evacuation? And if pulling the fire alarm was the best choice of action, why send Heather in? Why not one of the Rangers? Like, I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe the Rangers think that the monsters would recognize them, but Heather was seen by one of the monsters, or a couple of the monsters, and there's the one who can turn human. How do they know that Triskull isn't still in there disguised as a human? What if he happened to see Heather pulling the fire alarm? I don't know, whatever. So much of this episode is just, wait, what? That doesn't make any. Why did whatever? Turn your brain off, and I hate doing that. Okay. Oh yeah, and then there's a weird thing. Heather, let's see, she goes in, and then she sneaks around in front of like the desk. Like she's not behind anything. She's just sneaking around in like full view of everyone, which seems like it'd be more suspicious. But anyway, she does actually get to the fire alarm. She pulls the fire alarm, and the monsters don't know what it is anyway. So yeah, anyway. Oh, and I keep saying anyway again. I am trying to stop that. Oh yeah, the Rangers, or yeah, a bunch of rescue crews show up like seconds after the alarm is pulled, and it turns out that the firemen are the Rangers in disguise. That still doesn't explain how like the ambulance got there immediately, how the police cars got there immediately, but whatever. Maybe they were around the corner. Maybe the Rangers did prepare for this or something. I don't know. So let's see. Oh yeah, this is a weird thing. Carter and Leo go in the building themselves by themselves. They face Triskull alone because Sentai footage. In the Sentai version, let's see. Oh, there it is. Go-Go 5 versus Ginga Man. The Red Rangers face the bad guy in that movie alone, so they had to do it here. And there's not really any explanation for why they're alone. And then later, a couple more Rangers show up to help them anyway. I don't know. So yeah, blah blah blah. They, let's see. Where am I in my notes? Oh yeah, the Ranger, yeah, Green and Pink Lost Galaxy Rangers show up, and Trakeena yeah, she comes in and blows them out a window. Anyway, there was a scene here where when they first met Trakeena, uh, when Damon sees her, he's like, Trakeena? And I felt like Trakeena should have looked at, like, Kendricks and said, you're alive, or something, because she doesn't know Kendricks came back to life. Or maybe she does. I don't know. I don't know what she's been doing. We don't get any kind of anything about what the Rangers have been doing since the series ended. Like, I'm trying to think really hard this whole episode. In the end, there is like a little reference to, oh, we need to go back to Miranoi, but other than that, there's like nothing. So yeah, oh yeah, they they're down on the ground now. Olympius shows up. The Rangers all morph, and the Lost Galaxy Rangers get the wrong morph again. They don't use the morph from Lost Galaxy. They use the morph that was used in here from Gingaman, which, I mean, it looks good and cool and all, but that's not Power Rangers. That's Sentai. Like, I've heard that, like, Zacker, sometimes he wanted to keep Sentai things, but it wasn't, like, really bad until, Samurai and Megaforce, where it was, like, to the detriment of everything. It was stuff that made no sense. Like, when they had the legendary new powers in Super Megaforce. It makes absolutely no sense. Why are they there? Because Zacker wanted to keep them there, because Sentai. And I'm wondering if it was a similar thing here, or if it was just laziness on the part of the editors or whoever. So let's see. Yeah, the Rangers are fighting with Olympius. Trakeena is still up in the room, and so she hooks herself up to the energy drainer thingy, and she's getting the energy from all the shrunken captives. Olympius knows about this somehow. Uh, he chucks the dagger up, which I guess magically knows to turn and stab into the energy thing, and the poison goes into the energy that Trakeena's absorbing. Oh, and there's a weird thing. We actually see some original shots of that green suit from the end of Lost Galaxy. Why didn't they use that more? I don't know. So anyway, the stuff infects Trakeena, and as we all know, thanks to, like, Twilight, poison will make you immortally strong. Yeah. Trakeena turns into a big dragon monster that doesn't really look anything like her, and combined with the lack of her original actress being there at all, it just, there's no connection there. There's no relevance to this monster. It's just a random monster. It doesn't feel like Trakeena. And the Lost Galaxy Rangers don't make any kind of big deal like Trakeena's finally defeated, and no, it's just another monster, which in the Japanese version it was just another monster. They really should have tried to connect Trakeena to this monster somehow better. And I thought of a way that would have worked really well. She has that face mask on the whole time, and I kept thinking, wouldn't it be a neat thing if she took it off and we saw what she looked like under it? And I was thinking, what if she took it off and she had big fangs that protruded out of her mouth that looked just like that big dragon monster? It still wouldn't be very good. It'd still be weird, and it'd be like, well, that doesn't really represent Trakeena, but it would at least tie it into this particular episode's version of Trakeena to have some similarity between her and the monster, because there is none. It's such a weird decision they made here. Oh, and then there's a weird thing. When Trakeena turns into the giant big monster, the Lightspeed Rangers call for the Omega Megazord, and there's a really long, long Zord formation sequence in this team up episode. And I kept thinking, you couldn't, like, cut it down, like, have the shorter version of the Zord formation thing to focus a little bit more on the returning Rangers? I don't, it's so weird. It feels so rushed. Like, the first episode took its time with Heather, this character that, she's fine, but that's not who we're here to see. We're here to see the Rangers. Like, I think she even has more screen time than the Lightspeed Rangers. Yeah. So looking at my notes here, oh yeah, the Galaxy Rangers just kind of stand there, I guess, while the Lightspeed Rangers fight with Trakeena for a while. Oh, and um, the Solar Megazord comes in, not piloted by Ryan or anything. Even when I was a kid, I wondered, why didn't they just have Ryan do a voiceover or something like, "Hey guys, I came back and whoa, what's going on here?" And then at the end of the episode, he can be like, "Well, I gotta get back going to the desert or whatever." Something. It would have been so simple. He wouldn't even have had to be there. You could just have him phone it in, literally. So I don't know. Was this another McDonald's thing? Like, because this came out before a lot of the episodes aired, they didn't want to give away the Titanium Ranger or something? Because they do give away the Olympius is, or the Impus become, or well, they don't show Impus becoming Olympius, they just show Olympius. I know on Ranger Wiki there's like a list of things that were introduced in this special, technically, because this came out before a lot of episodes aired. So yeah, the Galaxy Rangers are just standing around, and they're like, "Man, I wish we had the Galacta Beasts." "Yeah, but they're back on Miranoi." "Oh wait, nope, there they are." It's one of the silliest things in Power Rangers, like, "Well, I wish we had the Galacta Beasts." "Yeah, but they're back on Miranoi." "Oh wait, nope, there they are." Okay. It reminds me of in Zeo when, let's see, Queen Machina and Sprocket are talking about how much they miss King Mondo, and then Mondo just pops out of nowhere. "I'm back! Did you miss me?" So the Galactabees show up. Oh, and then they're, like, just knocked away immediately. Like, let's see, I don't remember now if, yeah, on the back of the DVD here, they show the Ginga Man Megazord. So where was it here? Why isn't it there? I don't know. Anyway, the Omega Max Megazord picks up the Galaxy Rangers and the Lights of Orion that they summoned to power up the Lightspeed Megazord, and that's kind of cool to see the Lightspeed Megazord with a power-up like that, and it defeats Trakeena like nothing. And then, oh yeah, then Heather comes back, and it was weird, when I was taking my notes, by this point, I'd kind of forgotten about Heather. Like, she becomes kind of a non-character in this after the first part, after she pulls the fire alarm. She's not really seen for most of it. There's a scene of her reuniting with her parents, and then not again. She was such an important character. Why didn't she get a bigger ending? And then we get a teensy bit of character stuff. Joel is hitting on Kendricks and Maya. The Rangers ask the Galaxy Rangers, "Hey, would you like to stay here? We could totally use another team of Rangers." And they're like, "We're needed back on Miranoi." And then we get a really cool scene at the end where the Lightspeed Rangers are in their Jeep, and all the Galaxy Rangers are on their cycles, and then the cycles shoot up into space. Okay, bye. We have to go now. Our planet needs us. Literally. So, it's not the worst episode ever. It's not even the worst team up ever. The bar's been set pretty low lately. But yeah, it's very frustrating. A lot of the team ups, like especially lately, are frustrating because it seems like there's all these little things that could be so easy to do and they just glance right over it. Now they have the excuse of, like, when they bring back characters from years ago, it's like, well, they probably don't even remember what these characters were doing. They probably don't remember the episodes they wrote for these characters. They don't remember, like, they probably wouldn't even remember their names if they didn't have them written down somewhere. With this, though, Lost Galaxy had just aired. It was a really important, groundbreaking season for Power Rangers, and this episode just kind of ignores them in favor of Heather. And then in this episode, like, completely ignores Trakeena's character, basically, to turn her into just a generic monster of the day. Oh, and I guess Triskull just went down like a punk. Like, wow, he was weak. When Leo and Carter face him, Carter turns on the battle booster, punches him like once, he goes down. Glass Joe. So yeah, he was. Oh, and that's all Heather had to do was just throw her kickball at him once, and he would have been down. So yeah, oh yeah, one of the things that's kind of nice and kind of frustrating is Kendricks is back. Awesome. it's really great to see Valerie Vernon back in the series because, like, knowing the behind the scenes of why she left in Lost Galaxy, I can understand why they wanted to bring her back. In Lost Galaxy, she left the show not willingly, but because she had to have leukemia treatment. That's awful. That had to happen. And Lost Galaxy, due to having a more mature tone and just the setting around everything, the context of the story, there really wasn't a way to just send her off to a peace conference or have her go off and do something. It was had to be something permanent, and so yeah, killing a character off was really their only choice. And then at the end of the season, she just pops right back, and it's kind of anticlimactic in the context of Lost Galaxy's story, but behind the scenes, knowing why she's back, because she was better at that point, and, you know, it's kind of nice, and I like that they brought her back here, but she doesn't do anything. We get like one shot of her smiling at Joel at the end, and that's it. She gets a few throwaway lines here and there. Guys, the monster, or whatever. Her lines were totally pointless. And it really sucks because this is the only time she came back, I think. There might have been like a time they brought her actress back for voiceover or something, maybe at one point or another. But as far as I know, this is the only time she was ever back, like, as Kendrix. When the Pink Lost Galaxy Ranger showed up in Super Mega Force, it was Melody Perkins, Corone, her replacement from Lost Galaxy. Which, I mean, alright. Oh, actually, I think, yeah, Corone actually got a little bit more to do in Super Mega Force than Kendrix got to do here. Boy, that's not good when an actor who came back in Super Mega Force gets to do more than you in, like, an older season. Ugh. So, anyway, it's nice that she's back. I just wish they could have done literally anything with her. Anything. Like, I was thinking back to what I was thinking about earlier when Trakeena sees Kendrix there. She should have said something. Because, like, Trakeena doesn't know that she came back to life. This just kind of makes it look like she accepts it or whatever. Like, oh, okay, well, whatever. I'm going through my notes here. Oh yeah, the Magna Defender doesn't show up in this episode, and it's a really interesting thing. On Ranger Wiki, it says that they cut around the Japanese Magna Defender's footage, and that made me think he had a really big part in the movie when actually he doesn't. He's barely in it. Uh, like I was just skipping through the movie, and I was trying to find a scene with him, and there's one like way at the end, and he's not even fighting any bad guys. He's just standing there. So I can't remember like how big of a part he had in there, but it wasn't big. The Torazor doesn't even show up, I don't think. And I've heard like different reasons why he didn't come back. Some things say that he wouldn't come back, like he wouldn't willingly come back himself. Other things said it was a pay dispute. Other things said that uh like I don't know. My guess is that there was probably budgetary problems, like they could only bring a certain number of Rangers back, and with Mike, they were in a convenient place to be like, well, he lost his powers anyway. He lost his Zord. He's barely in this thing, so we can easily do without him. And like it kind of sucks not having the whole team back, but on the other hand, I guess from a story standpoint, it's understandable. So there. um yeah. I was thinking back to when I first got my DVDs and I was rewatching all the old seasons and I would watch Lightspeed Rescue. These episodes are some of the ones I'd usually skip over, or I would watch like the movie edit that's on the Best of the Power Rangers DVD, because as episodes, these really don't work. And it reminded me a lot of in SPD when they did team up episodes. Like, team up episodes should be a big spectacle event. But, like, in SPD, the team up episodes are just annoying and they get in the way. When I was watching through SPD, and I don't even like SPD that much, it's one of my least favorite seasons, actually. But, like, by that point in the show, I'm really invested in it. I want to know where the characters are going. I want to know what's going to happen next. And then the team up episodes happen and just break the flow of everything and get in the way. History and Wormhole. And both of them have a lot of the same problems that the Lightspeed episode did, where they waste way too much time. At the beginning of the episodes, the Rangers are just fighting generic monsters, the SPD Rangers, not the Dino Thunder Rangers. Then the Dino Thunder Rangers finally show up, and Doggy holds them back for no reason, or well, because he thinks they're suspicious or something. You're SPD. Aren't you supposed to have records of all the past Rangers? Wouldn't that include Dino Thunder? Or whatever? I don't know. So, not a good episode. Not the worst episode, but, it's fine. And, like, the one positive thing is it happened in the original Saban era, so I can kind of forgive it just because I like the aesthetic of the old Saban era. I like when everything was still in Los Angeles. I liked when they still had, like, an American majority cast. I like the old, like, Sentai footage, the old Sentai monster suits, seeing the old Zords, the old weapons, all that stuff there. Like, that's all cool. It's just a really underwhelming episode. It kind of reminds me of, like, the Five Doctors from Doctor Who, where we had this big, like, it was supposed to be a big event where all the previous Doctors were all together. Unfortunately, one of them was recast, and we don't. Oh, and one of them wasn't even there. He's just stock footage, and then there's like some other characters who show up, but most of the special is just characters kind of meandering around, and there's no like big team up moment or anything. And that's kind of what this feels like. It just feels like a lot of meandering around, and when the big team up happens, it's not really a big spectacle. It's not epic or anything. It's just, all right, that happened. So yeah, there's my thoughts on Trakeena's Revenge Part 2. Hope you enjoyed this, I guess. See ya.